What is an adult life equivalent of calling your teacher Mom? I had a coworker who would jokingly call our chief Big Daddy behind his back. We were all working a little late one night and she let "Hey Big Daddy" slip as he walked in. To her credit, she owned it and now calls him that in regular conversation. Still weird though. One of my soldiers called me Dad in boot camp. It was pretty hard not to laugh. Edit, thank you stranger for my first ever silver. Edit, damn this blew up. Thanks for the gold. Never expected this to catch so much attention. I have a friend who used to work as a nursery school teacher and then went to a job in an office. The transition was not easy. Apparently she started her first presentation by saying, "All right everyone. Quiet down. Fingers on lips." The reason she tells the story is that about half the people in the room, including her immediate boss, did it instinctively. Easy, calling your boss daddy. My husband has mixed up my and his sister's name more than once. Also, calling your kids the pet's name. This happened to a coworker years and years ago. We were tellers at a local bank. Every Christmas we had tiny candy canes to give to the kids of customers. One guy came through with his transactions. He had cash back. Teller 1 was helping him. She proceeds to give him his cash in a 100 bill and the candy cane for his kid. He looks at her and says, "Can I have that broken up?" She then proceeds to bash the candy cane to a pulp with my stapler and gives it back to him. Teller 2 just looked at her after the dude said thanks and drove off. And said, "I think he meant the 100 bill, I will remember this story forever." Edit, thanks for the gold. This is my very favorite story from working there. We had a good group. I still love those people. My friend was on a toilet. Someone knocked and she said, "Come in." Edit, thanks for silver kind stranger. When the priest says, "May the Lord light up your life," and you reply, "And up yours." When I got my nachos at the cinema, the guy at the counter said, "Enjoy your film," and I said, "You too." Holy Jesus Christ on a motorbike, then CC for the silver. If you are a teacher, calling your students by their older brother, sister's name that you had before in your class. Edit, thanks for the silver smiley face. I work in a prison where I have occasionally have a inmate say, "All right officer emo kid, have a good night, drive home safe," hit him with the "Thanks you too." Multiple life sentences. My first silver smiley face, "Thanks ya." Going on autopilot and coming terrifyingly close to giving my short female employees noogies like I do my daughters. At Dollar Tree the other day my boyfriend walked up to the cashier and she said almost immediately, "How was your meal?" and then, "Oh. Wrong job." When someone says, "Happy birthday," and you say, "Thanks you too," by accident. Getting my children's names mixed up or calling them by the pets' names. Thank you to everyone who upvoted me. And commented your stories. Sorry I haven't replied to you all. But I've upvoted all of you. Glad to see I'm not alone. Virtual high five. I'm a teacher. I unthinkingly scolded my dog the other day with, "Follow the directions." We kinda just stared at each other for a second while I realized how ridiculous I sounded. My old boss and my husband's names were one letter apart. I worked in a daycare. So the owner and all the staff often texted one another to update each other on kids. Any issues parents had. And general questions. My husband was working third. And I was working first. We didn't get to see each other much. And most of our conversation was done via text. On my very first week, I was in a rush after getting into work. And texted my husband the same thing I always texted him when I got into work. "Hey babe. I'm here. I hope your night was as awesome as you are less than 3. I love you so much. Your dinner is in the crock pot." When I went on break, I checked my phone. Nothing back from my husband. But my boss had texted me. It read, "Love you too." Mwah. I was so confused until I looked back at the messages and realized I had sent her the text meant for my husband. Changed her contact name to "Boss" after that one. Thank God she had a good sense of humor about it. I once saw a flustered young lawyer address a judge as, "Oh Lord." He was a big church person and had kind of fallen into a prayer cadence as he nervously argued. Everyone pretended it had not happened. When talking with family we always end our calls with, "I love you." So I'm on a call with my longtime assistant and as the call ends without thinking I say, "I lo," and stop horrified as I couldn't think of how to finish it. Thank God she had a sense of humor. She said, "Ah, come on now. You can say it. Go ahead. Tell me you love me." Quote. So I did, and we laughed about for years. My boss is old enough to be my dad, although his kids are younger than me. Sometimes he reminds me of my dad, and I have almost told him, "Oh okay Chip," my dad's name, in a sarcastic "I don't agree with you" tone. Once when we were having a "we don't agree about something" conversation that had to do with our other leader, he slipped and called me his daughter's name while giving me advice. He wasn't telling me I had to do what he was saying, but was sharing why he thought I should. It really made me feel that he was genuinely giving me the best advice he could. I still didn't agree, but I did take his advice. I know this is exactly an answer to the question, but life has been a little hard lately, and typing out a nice moment made me feel a bit better, so I am going to leave it. Once I was in the airport and I went to get a sandwich. I stood at the counter to tell the worker to give me a turkey sandwich, which he prepared. He handed it to me, and his coworker noticed he didn't microwave it. So he extended his hand to me over those glass container thingies, which have food displayed in them, so he can take it to microwave it. I didn't understand why he was extending his hand, so I smiled and shook it. He laughed and pointed at my food and told me he has to heat it. I felt dumb as. I once called an older female coworker Mom because she kinda looks and gives off a vibe like my mom. Signing an email best. Does putting veggies in the washing machine instead of the fridge count? Edit. Hey everyone, thanks for the likes. I am so happy RN. And also thanks to the kind internet stranger for giving me my first gold. Well, I've accidentally rubbed the back of some random chick at Walmart thinking she was my wife before. I'm a dental hygienist. My patient was a man who had just turned 91 the day before. Instead of saying, "Happy late birthday," like a normal talking human being, I accidentally, and very loudly, said, "Happy last birthday." The look on his face. Y'all. This was also my second day at my new job. Edit. To answer everyone's question on if he's still alive, I have no idea. This happened about 2 months ago. So I won't be scheduled to see him until sometime in July. Fingers crossed he comes back, or I'm going to feel even worse. Also thank you for the gold and silver. But please put that towards a charity of your choosing instead. My idiocy doesn't need rewarding. Calling your wife Mom is pretty bad. I did that once almost 20 years ago, and the cringe hasn't lessened over time. Edit. We never had kids. So it's not like anyone else was calling her mom. So, yeah. Super awkward. Yay. Walking up to the wrong car and freaking out when you can't unlock it. Calling your girlfriend by your ex's name. On the way back from a client meeting with one of the partners. He wasn't paying attention when the light turned green and I said, "Hey, babe, you gotta go," and then I died. Ending a phone call with a client or colleague with "love you." I have accidentally said "love you" when hanging up on a work call. Handed a 20 to the officer instead of my license last night. Edit. Thanks for the gold, friend. Video. Story. I was the DD. So we leave a friend's house and sit in the car. Then before I can even turn on the car, the officer pulls up shining the light. So I walk where he can see me from a distance and ask if I can approach. Ask him what's going on. He says I can't discuss that as of yet and asks for my ID. Nervously hand him a 20. And he looks at me like I was an idiot, which I don't blame him. Says, "I don't need this right now, give me your ID." We talk for a bit, looking for an armed perp. He then walks around my car and looks inside. Then after IDing everyone he says, "Sorry about the trouble, have a good night." Not me. But my mom. She was in a meeting and not paying attention for whatever reason. Then someone asked her a question and she responded with, "What's that, honey?" Made me crack up for so long. I was given a lift home by a colleague from work once. And when he stopped to let me out of the car I leaned in for a kiss, as it was what I would do to my wife. Thankfully he was looking the other way at the time. I'm one of those "never save numbers in my phone" kinda guys. When I was in the army, I was stationed somewhere with a different area code than mine. And got to talking to a local girl. Things were getting heated one night over text. So we were sending raunchy things back and forth. I wasn't paying attention for a moment and sent a message to the wrong person by mistake. My sergeant replied, "All right. I'm not really into all that. But make sure you show up to formation in the morning. Tossing the plate of pizza rolls onto the couch rather than your phone. Mixing up text messages between your wife and boss. I've worked in restaurants since I was 16. When I bring someone to a table I say, enjoy. After any drink or plate of food I put down at a table I do the same. Well, I guess it was just inevitable that when a man asked me where the washroom was and I directed him that I told him to enjoy. These days I rarely talk on the phone to anyone who isn't family, so, love you. Bye is a standard phone call ending. We had some issues at our house last year and I'm pretty sure I told 2 contractors and the insurance adjuster I loved them. Edit, thanks to all who posted to let me know I'm not the only one. I love you all.